Welcome back. We are at my Notting Hill project, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity to invite you back in now that the decorators have in fact left and some of the furniture has been installed. So please come on in. So as you enter, you come into this incredible entrance hall with all of this beautiful wood paneling and marquetry. Obviously, we weren't going to do anything here in terms of redecorating, but I have added a few furniture touches. So we've got just very simple candle holders here from Zara Home, of all places. I think they're such an easy way to just elevate a space and a really nice way to add a touch of ambience and just kind of a vibe when you've got guests coming in and entering. Then you've got more candles here behind me on this really beautiful sort of candle stand, which actually could be hung from the ceiling, or you can stand it because it's got a base as well. And that comes from Myriad Boutique in Clarendon Cross. If you've seen my little neighbourhood guide on Clarendon Cross and Portland Road, you'll know what I'm talking about. So the candles are actually standing on top of an antique wooden plinth. I'm not sure if you can see it too well, but I'm going to give you a little bit more of an insight. This is such a special piece. I absolutely love it. It's from the 1800s, and I picked it up at the Kensington Vintage Fair, which was a complete surprise. I had no idea what to expect. A friend invited me, and it took place a Saturday a few weeks ago in Earl's Court in a church, and they had such a wide selection of different things. It was an array of everything from clothing to, you know, bits and pieces from old house sales, very eclectic mix, but I'm really, really happy with that purchase, and I made a couple of other good purchases as well. It was a couple £100, and it's this really beautiful solid wood carved plinth, which I think just fits perfectly in this space. So because this is a rental, we've tried to be as quick as possible with furnishing it, but obviously not compromising on the style or the pieces that we're choosing. But obviously antiques are a good place to start for that. So another couple of pieces that I'm really happy with actually came about also by chance. I noticed online that there was a sample sale of one of my favorite interior designers, Marude Studio, and I went to her studio in East London on a Saturday morning, bright and early. I was there 15 minutes early because I was completely on a mission, and I managed to stock up the whole car. And these two pieces here behind me, the chair and the Killam stool, were part of the selection that I came home with. And I just absolutely adore this chair. I think it's so beautiful and it has so much character. It almost has like a personality. And I was actually testing out a different wooden chair in this space, but this just is so solidly built, and it sits and it kind of holds the space without overpowering. And it's also really practical and handy if you're, like, you know, putting shoes on in the morning before you leave. It's a great place to do that. So two more pieces that I got from that sample sale are actually in the first entrance foyer in front of me, which is this incredible wood carved antique mirror with the most beautiful mirror that's like just been perfectly foxed with the aging. So that's a really nice one. And then also beneath that, I've got this large shell, which is quite funky. It maybe won't stay there permanently. I'm still looking for its forever home, but I really like it as well. I think it's very characterful. And then on the mantelpiece behind me, we've got these. I'll just show you one of them here. They're these brass little vases. You could put candles in them, like large candlesticks, or, you know, bud vases, use them as bud vases. There's a hurricane jar also there behind me, which I probably should put another candle in. And this mirror on the wall high up here, which is this cute little convex, round, gilded mirror. And all of these pieces are from Banda Gallery, which actually opened recently. It's an online shop with a beautifully curated selection of antiques and new interiors, kind of decorating pieces and pieces of furniture, opened by Banda Studio. So they do beautiful interior design and development projects, and now they've also started this line of homeware. So I had to bag a few pieces from there, and I'm really happy with how they fit the space. Attention to detail is so important when you're doing any kind of design project, and I think that a nice way to elevate a space without spending a fortune or doing too many drastic changes are focusing on the little things. So for example, here, something that really frustrated me when I first saw the space was you've got these beautiful big lanterns, and they had these horrible bulbs inside them, and because they're clear lanterns, you do notice them, and even if you're not specifically looking and thinking, oh, that's a horrible bulb, people kind of see it in their subconscious. So I've just changed them out for chandelier bulbs, sort of candle bulbs, and I think A, they're clear, so they create a much nicer light, but B, if somebody does pay attention, they can see that, you know, somebody has really thought this through and it's not just like some random bulb stuck in there. So that was a little small change that we made, which I think, you know, subconsciously it makes a big difference, or at least that's what I like to tell myself. So once we've entered the property, we come into this hallway, and I cannot take any credit for this incredible carved ceiling, but I wanted to point it out because it is phenomenal. It's something so special that I've never seen in a property before. You get all kinds of different cornicing and vaulted ceilings, but you can see the level of detail here is just something out of this world, in my opinion. The previous owner of the property was an architect, which if you've watched the first video where we did the beginnings of the decoration, I mentioned who he was, so go back if you haven't seen it. But if you look closely here, you'll notice that this is a giant spider's web with a lot of detailing around the outside, and there are 4 sets of initials, which are the initials of the architect who owned this property. And I just love it. It's like a slice of history. So the ceiling is quite arts and crafts in its style, and I wanted to pick up on that and kind of emphasize it. So I went for this Eric Höglund chandelier here in the center. This was actually quite sort of fortuitous, let's say, because there was no electric connection from the central ceiling point. So we needed to think a little bit outside the box. And at the same time, I had seen this in a shop called Sigma on the King's Road, and I just fell in love with it. It's from the 60s, it's Danish, it's got these beautiful glass beads coming off of it, and he's played around with like funny faces and little fish, and it's just something really unusual and unique. And it was also a really good purchase because on the Pimlico Road they have another Eric Höglund chandelier which is slightly larger but a lot more expensive, so I was very happy with this find. And at the moment it's got totally the wrong candles in it. Obviously you would like to have proper candles, and if you do a dinner party or an event you'd light them, but for now I've just got these Amazon candles, and I still need to find slightly better quality ones, and I probably need to pop them in there a little bit more upright, but these literally are just on a remote control, and some people will find this horrifically tacky, but I kind of love it. And the way that their little flames flicker just kind of lights up the ceiling really nicely, and I think it's just a bit of a fun touch. So picking up on the arts and crafts theme, I also wanted to find a hall table that would fit with that. And we found this really special piece from Cave Decorative Arts, which if you've seen some of my other videos, you've heard me mention them before. They are just around the corner on Clarendon Cross. And I really like both the combination of the light and dark wood and also this pattern on top, which obviously, you know, you want to cover it with books and candles and this vase, but you still get a little bit of that decorative detail coming through. And also it was really important to me when I was looking for a hall table to find one that had really nice legs and a nice base as well, because sometimes that gets a little bit forgotten. What we are missing here is a rug, and I think I know which one we're going to get. We're leaning towards something much more contemporary. It's a Jemima Jasmine design, and that will hopefully tie into the blue walls and just lift this space and bring it up to date a little bit more so that it doesn't get all too old and kind of antique. And that will be a really beautiful wool silk blend. And it's also quite a funky shape because it's kind of a rectangular space, but you've got this arched ceiling as well, the round table, so you want to play around with curves here. as well. And I'm just obsessed at the moment with this design. I mean, not even design, but like floral explosion that we have going on, which I picked out the other day, and I think it works so nicely. And it's just really fun to play around with different kind of bouquets and create a really great first impression when somebody enters through this space. So I'm very happy with how this is all coming along, but let's head through and go to the reception room now. Coming into the living room, you can see that it's decorated for the holidays now, but I just wanted to point out a few pieces that have arrived and been installed in the space. Of course, we're still waiting for a few more things, so it's definitely not complete yet. The first thing to point out is obviously now that the protective sheets have come down, you can really get a feel for the colour that we've gone for. It's this very creamy, milky, taupey colour that I mentioned called Dimity from Farrow & Ball, and we've actually taken that all the way up, so we've colour drenched this room from the skirting board to the ceiling. Behind me, you'll notice this mirror, which we really struggled with finding an overmantel mirror that would fit the proportions because it's quite a tall and wide fireplace, which is fantastic, but it means that the very large mirrors that you find are often too tall to fit the space between the mantelpiece and the cornicing. And the mirrors that would fit the space in terms of the height are more on the narrow side. So what we're going to do here, because we fell in love with this mirror, it actually comes from an antique shop called Antiquities in Petworth, and I think going out of London sometimes is such a good hack to finding well-priced antiques and interesting pieces. But I just really like this piece because you've got the lovebirds at the top with this kind of crown detail over their little nest with the chicks. It's got really lovely gilding. It's not too brash and in your face, but it's also not too dull. And then what's extremely special about it are the 4 quarter plates around the central mirror, and all of the glass plates have been hand beveled. It's a true antique. It's probably also from about the 1800s. And then on the quarter plates, you've got this really lovely foxing, which is that kind of antique grain that you get on old mirrors. And the central plate is actually in really good condition, but that hand beveling catches the light really nicely. And then when you're standing on the opposite side of the room, you can see the chandelier above me reflected perfectly in the mirror. The beveling picks up all of the light that's thrown out from the crystals, and you get the reflection of the tapestry behind. So I really love it. And then when all of this Christmas decoration comes away, you can sort of play with dressing the mantelpiece, adding some candlesticks, vases, different things. But yeah, I just think this is a really special piece. The chandelier hasn't been electrified yet because we were just testing it out. It comes from Davidson Carlton on the King's Road, and I really like it. I think that the brass and the glass works really nicely in the space. It's, again, not too overly gilded, but it has that little gold edge to it as well. And I'm kind of a minimalist, so we did also look at a much larger, kind of fancier chandelier, if you like, but I think it was just too overpowering in the space, and I think this is really dainty. We might take it up just a notch, but once it's lit, it's got 12 arms, so it should add a lot of light. And I love the way that the glass and the beads really catch the light and really sparkle, and it's just that little bit of sparkle in the space. So I'm very excited to see that once it's electrified. I have also gone for a few more contemporary pieces, and we'll be waiting for a few more as well. This chair, which I'm just going to sit down because it is so comfortable and dreamy. This is from the Invisible collection, and it is the most beautiful, comfortable shearling armchair and shearling footstool. And we were very lucky because these were on display in their showroom in Marylebone, and we were able to snag them and get them straight away. So I'm really happy with this, and I really like the sort of natural touch that it brings to the space, and also that element of coziness, which is perfect now in the winter, of course. But I'm playing around with, this in the space, whether it will stay up here or whether we'll switch it out for a couple of contemporary kind of armchairs, and then this might go into the principal bedroom as a sort of like lazy chair that you can chill in whilst somebody's getting ready or reading a book in the afternoon when you just want a little bit of peace and quiet. I literally could lie here all day. It is so comfortable, and I feel like this kind of an armchair has become a little bit of like a design staple, so it's quite an iconic piece as well. So the couple of things that we are 100% still missing in the space are, of course, a really large rug to pull everything together. And I definitely want to go more contemporary with the rug. And again, it's going to probably be a Jemima Jasmine piece. We might go for a full silk rug just to get that really plush, lovely, luxurious feeling, or a wool silk blend. But we're just trying to decide on the colors and the design at the moment. So we want something that's going to lift the space, brighten it up a little bit, and as I said, pull everything together. We also, of course, need a coffee table. Again, we're going back and forth between something very contemporary, maybe a marble piece, or something a little bit more comfortable that you can use in a multitude of different ways, like a slipcover ottoman that would actually match this sofa quite nicely. So that is TBD. You'll have to watch this space and come back for part 3 to see what we go for. In front of the fireplace, I also want to put a couple of little stools or puffs for people to kind of perch on if you're entertaining and you've got a lot of people all together around the coffee table. And I think an ottoman is so kind of multifunctional because you can use it as a coffee table, you can put books and vases and trays on it, or people can sit on it, you can put your feet up on it. Very, very versatile. But I mentioned this sofa here, and I've now mentioned a couple of times the kind of lead times of furniture and how that can usually tend to take a few months, which is great if you're doing a full renovation project because you have that runway. But for this, it was a bit different. And I have to say, I'm so impressed with this sofa. This is a linen slipcover sofa. It's actually the 2-seater, but it's very large and very comfortable. It's got a really deep seat and it comes from Zara Home. And it arrived more impressively within a week. So this I can highly recommend. I think it looks really elegant. I thought the white would be really nice just to lift everything and freshen it up. And I think here in front of the tapestry, which I did mention before, but it had protective sheeting over it, so now you can see it properly. This is from Julia Boston Antiques, and I think that the white just, as I said, like freshens it up and lifts it, and works really nicely together, and it is extremely comfortable. I have to mention the cashmere blankets that we have kind of draped on the sofa. These are, of course, Luca Faloni. I think they're special edition. But the great thing about linen is obviously you can add some cashmere blankets and some throw pillows and things during the winter to make it more cozy. And then in the summer, it's much lighter than having like a wool sofa, for example, which does feel very cozy and wintry. But linen works all year round, so very happy with that here. I should just mention that this floor lamp is temporary. I just really like the way it's lighting up the tapestry at the moment, but I have ordered a floor lamp from Gooby with the rattan shade, which I'm really excited for it to arrive, but it is going to take a little bit longer. So it's testing my patience, but I know it'll be worth the wait. And I'm also looking at some like vintage Italian floor lamps as well. Now, this wall is a big blank space behind me, and it really needs a side table and a cool contemporary piece of art. But that is something that I don't want to rush, so I'm just going to wait and see what calls me. But there will be something here, so don't fret. Now, I really want to talk about this sofa here. It's kind of like a sofa bench, and we were just walking down the street. We were walking down the road in Westbourne Grove, and we saw this in the window of Arcade Antiques, which is a sort of modern vintage furniture store, and they do a lot of cool antiques and interior design pieces. And this is a yellow or sort of mustard coloured wool boucle sofa, which has the most beautiful legs at the back, and it's got this really lovely curve, and it's actually very comfortable but also a little bit more formal. And I just really like it, and I think it works really well, and it picks up the more kind of like brownie tones from the tapestry really nicely. And also because we've placed it here and both of the sort of like entrances to this room are behind it, I really wanted something which had a nice back to it, because if we put a side table here, then you won't have enough space. It will look too cluttered to also do like a sideboard behind the sofa. So it was very important that it was attractive and good looking from all angles, which this definitely is. And I really also like the way that it kind of like mirrors the bay window. And we'll see what happens, but once the Christmas tree comes down, this may actually sit nicely in the bay window as well. So there's a little bit of versatility there. And then we definitely need some more side tables in this space and like cocktail tables. I've got a couple of larger ones, again from Zara Home, but I'm just using them for candles at the moment. But I really like this wood side table or end table, which also comes from the Marude sample sale. So I think I did very well there. But I think that's everything for the living room at the moment. We are going to reupholster this little nook here, which is a perfect nap corner. But now I'll take you through to see the dining room. So coming into the dining room, you'll remember that this also had a lot of gold wallpaper and was a very dark space. We have kept the gold curtains for now because I actually think they go quite nicely with the setting plaster walls. But this room has definitely had, I think, the most progress, although we're still not 100% there just yet. If you remember, or if you watched the previous video, then I spoke about how I wanted a convex mirror here above this fireplace. I think because of the angle of the wall, it just picks up the reflection and the light from the room really nicely. And we found this kind of funky convex mirror with the eagle and the ball and chain from Denton's Antiques on Kensington Church Street, so also not too far away. And what I really love about it is that black rim that you have on the inside, which really nicely echoes the black and gold lacquer panels that are on the opposite wall from Cave Decorative Arts. And they've now been hung and they look so fantastic. And if you look from the living room through to the dining room, you can see the chandelier and the lacquer panels, and it just creates this really nice viewpoint through the space. Now, we have to talk about the chandelier because I think this might be one of my favorite pieces in the whole property, which I've sourced also from Denton's Antiques, and they're so lovely. I really, really enjoyed working with them. They would bring things into the space, we could try them out, they had great suggestions, and it's so magical to visit their shop because it's just full of chandeliers and beautiful objects. But we picked this because it's got the gilding and also a little bit of kind of like dark green on the arms, which somehow works with the setting plaster really well. But more specifically, what I love about this chandelier are all of the little fruit droplets that are coming off of the bottom of it. And I think that works so nicely in a dining room. So you've got like pomegranates, pears, apples, as well as your normal kind of crystals that sort of reflect the light really beautifully. And these little kind of flower candle holders, which I just am obsessed with it. If you can't tell, I really, really like this piece, and I think it works beautifully in the space, and it also works really beautifully with the lacquer panels, picking up on the kind of foliage and floral theme. So yeah, we hung it also slightly lower than in the reception room because obviously you'll be sitting down at a dining table, so you can sort of drop it down a little bit more. And I have to just talk about the dining table and chairs because these are temporary. We're going to change the chairs. I think we'll still keep an oval dining table in this space, but maybe we'll go a bit longer so that you can fit a few more guests around it. And I want to go for quite contemporary chairs because I feel like that will sort of juxtapose everything else that we've got going on in here. And also on this back wall, again, we're going to either go for some kind of a cabinet where you can store china and your dinnerware, or again some sort of a side table with a really contemporary piece of art. And I've bought a lamp. It's a Paulson, it's a PH lamp from Paulson, and that is going to go on the side table either in here or in there, and it's that sort of very contemporary fun little table lamp, which I think is really beautiful. And actually the one I ordered is the collaboration that they've done recently with Fendi Casa, so a bit of contemporary Italian modern design coming into the space as well. Now I'll just very quickly and finally talk about the rug, which I have to say I am so impressed with this rug. This was a very affordable rug, which I ordered in a moment of panic online from a company called Benuta. It arrived really quickly and speedily. It's a flat rug, it's really good quality. And so when you're in a dining room, I feel like a flat rug is often a good solution because it's easy to clean, easy to hoover. I'm pretty sure this actually goes in the washing machine if you wanted it to. I don't think it's gonna be like the final rug in this space. We might get one made that's a little bit more maybe contemporary or colourful, but for now I really like it, and I think the tones with the sort of pastel colours and the pastel pink again pick up on everything else that's going on in this room really nicely. So this is how it is for now, but it will evolve and develop, and you'll have to check back and we'll do a part 3 where you can see all of the updates as more and more pieces come in and fill the space. But yeah, that is the tour for now. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel for lots more property and interior design content, and you can also head over to my Instagram page, which is @rosie.walden, where you'll find a lot of lifestyle, interior design and property content. I've really enjoyed showing you around, and I'm so excited about how everything is coming along. But I'll say bye for now, and I'll see you soon.